Caleb was one of the 12 spies sent by Moses from Kadesh Barnea to explore the Promised Land. His story is well known among Christians, especially for this episode, and his faithfulness and trust in the Lord's promises. At the beginning of this video, you will understand everything about who Caleb was in the Bible. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, take the opportunity to subscribe now and don't forget to click the bell to activate all notifications, so you will receive an alert whenever we have a new Bible study. Caleb was the son of Jephunneh from the tribe of Judah. There are various discussions about his exact ancestry, as Jephunneh is designated in the Bible as a Kenizzite, that is, a descendant of Kenaz. Kenizzites were probably nomadic people who wandered in the Sinai desert, and when Israel migrated north, some of these people joined the Israelites. This is likely what happened with Caleb's family, becoming attached to the tribe of Judah. Some interpreters consider that Caleb's father might have married a woman from the tribe of Judah, but other scholars argue that this doesn't make much sense due to chronological issues. If Caleb's family joined the people of Israel during the pilgrimage after the Exodus from Egypt, Caleb would have been born at that time, as he was 40 years old when he was sent to Canaan by Moses along with the other spies. If Caleb's mother was indeed a daughter of the tribe of Judah, her relationship with Jephunneh would have begun before the Israelites left Egypt. It was unlikely. In any case, later on, Caleb achieved a position of leadership and respect within the tribe of Judah. This is evident when we see that Nahshon, son of Amminadab, was the leader of the tribe, but it was Caleb who represented Judah among the spies in the reconnaissance mission of Canaan, alongside Joshua and 10 other spies. Later, Caleb also appears as one of those who divided the land of Canaan into tribal territory. In Joshua 15:13, we read that Caleb received his inheritance in the midst of the children of Judah, indicating his foreign root, as he was not a native member of that tribe. Later, in the time of Saul and David, Caleb's descendants were still respected in Judah. Caleb and Joshua were the only 2 of the 12 spies who showed confidence in the Lord, while the others discouraged the people of Israel by reporting that although the land was abundant, had large cities, and formidable inhabitants, people of Israel acted unfaithfully to God and did not trust in his promises to conquer the promised land. The disbelief of the other 10 spies was punished by the Lord, who caused them to die of a plague, while Caleb and Joshua received the promise that they would have a part in occupying the land of Canaan. About Caleb, the Bible says, "But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land into which he went, and his descendants shall possess it." Caleb was older than Joshua, and at the time of the reconnaissance of the promised land, he exercised some leadership, being mentioned alone at times. When he was sent to spy the land, he was 40 years old, as we read in Joshua 14:7. The Bible testifies to Caleb's faithfulness to God, saying that he fully followed the Lord. After 40 years of wandering in the desert, due to God's sentence on the unbelieving generation of Israel, Caleb and Joshua entered Canaan and were decisive in the conquest of that land. After Joshua's military actions, each tribe was responsible for occupying its designated territory. By that time, Caleb was already elderly, but once again showed faith and vigor by claiming his possessions. He desired to have the region of Kiriath Arba in the southern mountains, which was later called Hebron. The land was called Kiriath Arba because Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, possibly one of the giants that terrified the 10 unbelieving spies. When he requested that land, Caleb reminded Joshua of the days when they were both on the reconnaissance mission and of Moses' promise, used by God, that the land on which he had walked would be his. According to Joshua 14 verse 9, Moses swore, "Surely the land on which your foot has trodden shall be an inheritance for you and your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God." Caleb also said that 45 years had passed, and that the Lord had kept him alive to see the fulfillment of the promise. At 85 years old, he declared that he was as strong and willing as he was at 40, reaffirming his trust in the Lord, believing that all enemies would be driven out of the land. When he went to conquer Kiriath Sepher, Caleb offered his daughter's hand in marriage to the man who would capture the city. Othniel led the invasion and conquered the land, marrying Achsah, Caleb's daughter. Later, Othniel became the first judge of Israel. Othniel was related to Caleb, and scholars debate whether he was Caleb's younger brother or nephew, as the original expression in the biblical text supports both interpretations. Caleb's story shows that he was a God-fearing man, even coming from a foreign family. He remained faithful while thousands fell. Caleb inherited the promised land, trusting in God's promises, regardless of the circumstances. Even in old age, he had the disposition of a young man to go to war, trusting in the Lord's faithfulness. Caleb and Joshua were examples of faithfulness to God. They fully trusted in divine promises, even when the majority of the spies and the people of Israel doubted. Caleb's faith not only ensured his survival in the desert, but also secured his leadership position and inheritance in the promised land. Caleb's perseverance is a valuable lesson for all Christians. Instead of succumbing to fear and doubt, he maintained his unwavering faith, trusting that God would fulfill his promises. His story teaches us the importance of trusting God, even when facing seemingly insurmountable challenges. Additionally, Caleb's life shows us that age is not a barrier to serving God. At 85 years old, he was still ready to fight for his promises and lead his people. This serves as a powerful example that we are never too old to serve God and pursue the dreams He has given us. Caleb is mentioned in several biblical passages, standing out in Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Joshua. Each mention reinforces his importance and the confidence he had in God. These biblical passages provide a consistent testimony of his faithfulness and perseverance. In Numbers 13 and 14, we see the mission of the spies and the reaction of the people of Israel. The narrative highlights Caleb's courage in contrast to the cowardice of the other spies. In Deuteronomy 1:36, Moses recalls Caleb's faithfulness and God's promise to give him the land he walked on. In Joshua 14, the Bible details Caleb's claim to his inheritance and his speech about God's faithfulness. These passages not only record historical events, but also serve as spiritual reminders of how faith in God can transform lives and destiny. Caleb's story is a living proof of the power of faith and obedience to God. Caleb's influence extended beyond his own life. His descendants continued to be respected and influential in Judah for many generations. This demonstrates how faithfulness to God can have a lasting impact, affecting not only our life, but also the lives of those who come after us. Caleb's example also influenced other tribes of Israel. His courage and faith inspired many to trust in God and follow His promises. This is particularly evident in the life of Othniel, who became a judge of Israel and led the people with the same faith and courage that characterized Caleb. Caleb's life teaches us that our influence can extend far beyond our time on earth. When we live according to God's will and trust in His promises, we leave a lasting legacy that can inspire and guide future generations. The friendship and partnership between Caleb and Joshua are notable examples of cooperation and mutual support in leadership. Both shared the mission of spying the promised land and faced together the difficulties and challenges of leading the people of Israel. Joshua and Caleb showed that true leadership involves faithfulness to God, courage in the face of challenges, and an unwavering commitment to divine promises. They are examples of how faith can unite people around a common purpose, even in the face of adversity. Their partnership also demonstrates the importance of having spiritual allies we can count on in our faith journey. The friendship between Caleb and Joshua reminds us that we are not alone in our walk with God. He gives us faith companions to support and encourage us. Caleb's life is a story of promise and fulfillment. From the moment he was chosen as a spy to the conquest of his inheritance in Hebron, we see a journey of faith and realization of God's promises. This encourages us to trust that God is faithful and will fulfill all His promises. Caleb waited 45 years to see the fulfillment of God's promise. His patience and perseverance are powerful examples of how we should wait with faith and trust, even when circumstances seem adverse. God never forgets His promises and always fulfills them at the right time. This story reminds us that God's promises are firm and secure. We can trust Him completely, knowing that He is faithful and just. Caleb's life encourages us to keep our faith alive and active, even when facing long waits and challenges. Caleb's story is a legacy of faith for all generations. His life teaches us that faith in God is the key to overcoming any challenge and inheriting divine promises. He shows us that faithfulness to God, even in the midst of adversity, is rewarded with lasting blessing. Caleb's faith not only led him to conquer land, but also to leave a spiritual legacy that continued to inspire his people. His story is a constant reminder that faith in God is our greatest inheritance and the source of our strength and courage. We conclude this video by inviting you to reflect on Caleb's life and the importance of faith in your own life. Share this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comment telling what you learned from Caleb's story. May Caleb's faith inspire us all to trust in God's promises and live according to His will.